So recently Men's Health have released a podcast with the Legend Roger Gracie, where he goes on to explain his thoughts on how to integrate strength training with BJJ and what you actually need to do for a hobbyist and for more advanced people. So I thought it'd be cool to have a look what he says and just analyze it from a personal trainer's perspective who trains BJJ athletes, because it's always good to learn from legends like this who are the top of their game and have so much experience on the subject. So this is what he had to say when he was asked what to do in the gym to help your BJJ progress.
I think all depends. Your hobbyist, they train 3 times a week I would say the best exercise that can help you in Jiu-Jitsu, things that I do, is squats, deadlifts and pull-ups. No.
So, as he said, squats, deadlifts and pull-ups. Now, these are foundational exercises that don't necessarily train your glamour muscles like the chest, but I think he says this because if you do these 3 exercises, you will get strong legs, a strong core and a strong back and a strong grip, which is all really important for BJJ and any sports specific. Let's see what more he has to say.
Indeed, those 3. Yeah. If you're an athlete, you have time to do a lot more. Of course, there's way more things that you can do that will help you, but squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, they are the king of making your body stronger. If you do those 3 twice a week, you need nothing more.
The king, I think he's right there. And he also mentioned twice a week, which again, I think is a great frequency for doing strength training with any sport, because what happens when you train twice a week is you get 3 days or 4 days to recover after that workout, and that is how long it takes your muscles to rebuild and regrow. So if you keep on hitting your body 3 or 4 days after each training session, then you're going to give your body the full amount of time to recover from that. But what he also said there was if you are an athlete, there are more things you can do. And I think what he was going into here is things like extra grip training, maybe doing things like plate holds, extra sort of conditioning work, maybe on the minute, every minute it's with push-ups and kettlebell swings, more explosive movements like plyometrics, things like farmer's carries, all these exercises that are going to give athletes an extra edge over their opponents, rather than a hobbyist who just needs to stay strong and stay healthy. So he goes on to say a bit more about health and what it is about weights that actually makes them so advantageous and why you actually need to do them here.
Are there people who genuinely go their entire career without touching a weight?
I think it's very difficult because of your physical health is important, because Jiu-Jitsu is a very unequal, you unbalance your body because you use your right side more than your left. Your right leg is being used more than the left. It depends of how you do things. And if you do that over the years, it creates a very unbalance in your body. That's why people, my back hurts, my neck, because you overcompensate on one side. And especially squats, you do those complete exercises that works equally on both sides. It helps align your body. And I think the tightness that creates on your muscles when you do those sort of exercise, it helps your joints. And I can train harder if I'm doing weights than if I don't, because I just feel my joints, they hold a lot more.
There you go. So he can train harder when he's doing weights, which is really important. And he talks about health and why, everybody knows strength training is a healthy thing to do. This is why everyone does it now. It's it doesn't matter if you're a woman in your 60s or a guy in your 20s. in fact, is probably more important for a woman in their 60s. It's just for health and just creating a strong body that's going to last. And especially because Jiu-Jitsu is so tough, you need a body that is going to last. And I love what he says. It's like really intuitive. Like he feels a tightness on his muscle. Like this is what you call like joint stability. It's like that stability with every movement you do, that you're not going to get so much from just doing Jiu-Jitsu itself. It's only really something that you can get the most out of if you are training with weights.
Yeah, like my back doesn't hurt. If I just train Jiu-Jitsu, suddenly my back, might be hurt a little bit. The moment that if I'm doing squats, by the second week, I feel no pain.
So this is really interesting. Like obviously he's a guy who's Jiu-Jitsu first. And he's noticed that his body can feel it a bit if he's only doing Jiu-Jitsu, and then when he starts doing strength training, then those pains go away. Now I noticed this so much with people who don't really do strength training. They come into strength training and their pain, sort of whatever little niggles they have, starts to go away. Now this is important to note for someone on the other end of the spectrum like myself, who has strength trained for a while. I actually find the opposite. Like if I strength train too much and try to do too much Jiu-Jitsu, then my body can like start to find it difficult to recover, which is a really important point about recovery, which he actually goes on to answer and say about in this next clip.
The same in reverse. I was just deadlifting and squatting, and my back hurt, and I did some Jiu-Jitsu and it worked out like that.
So I bet you did heavy weights. Maybe.
For me, yeah, relatively.
I don't like to do like heavy weights.
What sort of rep range do you lift in?
8 to 10.
8 to 10? Okay, so
yeah.
But then I suppose maximal strength is never
good.
Even,
I don't think it's...
Yeah. Even if you're purely exerting maximal strength on someone, they're only ever going to be like a maximum of like 120 kilos, that sort of thing.
I just thought I'd add this point because I kind of missed it when looking back on it. What he doesn't mention here is you can get injured when you're training at 8 to 10 reps, because you can max out and get injured at any rep range. Doesn't matter if you're doing 1 rep or 8 reps. If you're pushing to the limit, then you can get injured. I think what he means when he's training 8 to 10 reps is he's building up volume, and he's leaving reps in reserve. But because he's in the 8 to 10 rep range, he's building up a lot of total volume. Rather than intense workouts pushing towards limits, he's building a lot of volume, which is a great way to get a lot of strength work in without necessarily risking injury.
Because I think that's when you're on the limit of getting injured.
Yeah.
Like everyone who lifts weights, they only injure themselves when they push to the limit, max weight.
Yeah.
If they don't, it's very rare that you hear someone like getting injured, right?
Would you say that's one of the mistakes you?
So this is super important, because managing intensity when you're doing multiple disciplines like Jiu-Jitsu and lifting weights is going to be super important. And all managing intensity means is like how many reps are left in the tank after each set. This doesn't mean you can't improve over time, because say your first set of squats compared to your set of squats in a year's time, even if they both have like 3 or 4 reps reserved in the tank, you might be lifting 50 kilos on the first week and then 70 kilos on the last week. You've still progressively overloaded and you've still got stronger, but you've managed to keep the relative intensity down along that journey, which is really important when keeping up these two disciplines.
Beginners,
yeah, I think so. Suddenly, I feel good. Let me push one more block. Yeah, it's always that.
And yeah, just being sensible. This is where a trainer can really come in handy. They sort of give you that feedback, and especially with Jiu-Jitsu guys, they're so competitive and that nature is within them. So when they go to lift weights, you're naturally going to be competitive. You're naturally going to want to lift more and more. And like having a trainer there just helps you reel yourself back in and be sensible with how you train.
One more.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd reiterate this point because I didn't mention what I say. So here he talks about balance here.
Important because Jiu-Jitsu is a very unequal. You unbalance your body because you use your right side more than your left. Your right leg is being used more than the left. It depends of like how you do things. And if you do that over the years, it creates a very unbalance in your body. That's why people, oh, my back hurts, my neck, because you overcompensate on one side. And especially like squats, you do those like complete exercises that works equally on both sides. It helps align your body.
There you go, that was the point. It helps align your body. Strength training helps align your body. And this is where it's important you can use these movements like the squat, the deadlift, all of these movements, you can use them in a way as if they are a tool. Rather than using them as the end goal, you can use them as a tool to align your body and to create stability. Rather than just chasing 1 rep maxes, there is a way in which you can use weights as a tool to make a stronger body. And I think if you can nail that, then you can really start to make a body that is going to be built for the long haul and have longevity to keep you in this sport for a while. Because injuries suck and we don't want to let them stop us from doing the things that we really want to do. So thank you for listening. Thank you for this podcast, Men's Health. It was really interesting to see a professional's opinion on strength training. And I think it validates a lot of things that we're already doing here. So peace out.